We are talking about tariffs. My name is Emmanuel Wa-Kyendo, and I've got questions. So, what are tariffs? How do we understand this thing? Elasticity of supply. When we talk about tariffs and the fact that tariffs are just another form of tax, and that the when taxes increase or decrease, there is a change in behavior in those who consume and or produce the product that is being taxed. Now, this change in behavior is dependent on different things, including how sensitive each party is to the change in the tax. So, to begin with, economists posit the existence of supply and demand curves. That is to say, there is a model that economists use to try and explain what is happening with the economy at large. So the supply curve posits the quantity of goods the suppliers are willing to supply at each given price level. So that means that you are producing something, you're engaged in some kind of activity, right? You work somewhere. Now, if whoever has employed you paid you just a little bit less, you will still come to work, but your willingness to work might actually be reduced. You might say, okay, you pay me less, I'm going to work just a little bit less than that, right? It's a strategy, or maybe a tactic, you could call it, that most people in the marketplace already understand intuitively and will actually impose. They will take this kind of action. You pay me less, I'm going to work less. If you pay me more, I'm going to do more. I might even improve the quality of the product that I'm giving you, the quality of the services. So there's a slope of this supply curve that reflects the elasticity of supply relative to changes in price. So that means every time the amount that I'm going to get paid changes, I change my behavior. In the same way, if I'm consuming things on the market, the more that the price of the good drops, the more that I'll be willing to spend on that product. Some markets are more elastic than others, right? Some people are more sensitive to price changes than others because of the types of activities that they are engaged in, right? So when we're talking about tariffs and we're talking about taxes, well, some people, some suppliers, some employees, some bosses, some consumers are going to be more sensitive to the change in price than others. So let's take petroleum, for example. The market for petroleum, what does it look like? For some producers like Saudi Arabia, it's very, very easy to draw out petroleum from the ground. It's cheap, right? It's very cheap for them, and it's in an abundant quantity. Now, not only is it cheap and abundant, but it's a product that everyone needs and that affects so many day-to-day activities, right? From everything from fuel that's running all sorts of combustion engines, right? From the buses that are taking you to work, the motorbikes, the vehicles, the aircraft that are flying around, all the way to petroleum derivative products like plastics, and what else? There's so many other petroleum derivatives, petroleum jelly, right? All these things are affected by changes in the price of petroleum. Now, of course, depending on how sustained those changes are. But the essence is this, right? The consumer of petroleum, most cases, is going to just find it that they got to keep consuming. It doesn't matter what price that petroleum is. So what does this mean? This means that while the supplier can, the producer cannot easily substitute away from petroleum. This despite the fact that the petroleum might be having, the change in petroleum prices might be having negative effect on their income. So what happens then? They might change some of their activities. They will still try to substitute away from activities that they deem are less necessary.